take a picture
Okay.
of just you. You can look up at
Okay.
me.
Can I put my shades on?
Oh yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
look great.
Thank you. Okay. Lean back over like you were, because I'm getting light from the back. There we go.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Did you get my
Oh, I
Facebook
love.
post?
Which one was
Oh, I
that?
sent you a song.
Oh, okay.
And this
See it.
guy, he's in Israel. He's a singer, Mike LaPaz,
Oh, really?
or Harpaz.
Okay.
And he's rowdy. Every time I try to share his stuff, they tell me that I'm bad.
Oh,
Facebook
jeez.
doesn't like him.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
beautiful song.
Oh, I'll check it out. I'm sorry, I must have missed it. Yeah.
And the only word I got out of it was Halila.
Oh, Halila. Yes. Yes. Beautiful.
Anyway.
Okay,
On
thanks.
Messenger. I just shared it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Great. I'll check it out. Thanks.
Not to distract you or anything
No, no, no.
from your show that you have to do. All right, cat.
Banana? Are you like?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Last I heard, yes.
For the last time you said, don't walk away. You've got kids, you have to lie. You're probably sick of that, but you know, I get a kick out of it, so.
I'm gonna go ahead and light this.
Oh,
light
yeah,
the
okay.
starter-
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
definitely.
starter candle.
Definitely, definitely. Hey.
Googled it, but I might want to make sure.
Yeah.
Big Ten Interest.
Big fan, big. Well, I don't really know. Big. I always say big fan in Teresh, but big time. You know, big time in Teresh.
Okay.
In Teresh. Big time in
Yeah.
Teresh.
Googled it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep.
And it's funny when I just put in how to pronounce
Oh, big. Oh, okay.
Big Ten.
Big time. Yeah,
And
big.
everything came up on Google.
Oh, okay. There was one up here. It was oh, well. Well, here's an extra. I mean, Wayne was just going to do the Heyman booze, but he can. You know what? I'll put. I just was he would need something for the cues, but actually I have mine, so no worries. Thanks. Yes. Oh, this is Ahashverosh. Ahashverosh. Yes, Ahashverosh. Okay. Welcome. Oh, yeah. Len, get it. Cool. Beautiful. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our Purim celebration. Just to let you know how the night's going to go tonight. Well, let me put my shades on first. It'll just be a little cooler. Tonight, the way we're going to do it is we're going to have a little bit of an abbreviated service. You may notice in our prayer book there's Shabbat evening service 1 and Shabbat evening service 2. We're going to be using 2. I'll give you the page numbers, no worries. First, I would like everyone to turn to their neighbor and wish them a good Purim, a Chag Sameach. And one thing we should remember on Purim, I'm not going to go over the story because our wonderful Megillah readers are going to do that right in the middle of our service. And they're all lined up, and we're going to call them up, I believe, 4 at a time to do some amazing readings. And of course, you know, and we have an official Brewmaster General. Wayne is coming, Dr. Wayne. He's going to be our Brewmaster General to hold up the sign. If you see this, when you hear that certain name, I want you to make noise and boo, okay? All right? That wasn't convincing. Can we try one? Haman! That was really good, by the way. Really good. Okay. So let's remember there are 4 main mitzvot, or commandments, that we're obligated to do on Purim. The first is hearing the story of Esther, and tonight we'll be reading the blessings together in Hebrew and English, and then we'll do an English reading of the Megillah. Giving to the poor, which is something that many of us do throughout the year. Sending food parcels called mishloach manot, which are baskets or just basically giving and charity. And having a festive meal, and I know we're going to have a festive meal, a seudah, after the service tonight. So we are going to begin a little differently with a little out of the box with a song called Utsu Etza. We are on page 369 in our prayer book. And if you don't know the melody, when I was growing up, my religious school principal, Avi, was from Israel, and he was a paratrooper in the 1967 war, the Six-Day War. And he said that they used to sing songs in the planes before jumping out of the planes. And this was one of them. So if any of you are pilots or you want to, sing this with us, Utsu Etza, bottom of page 369. Utsu Etza vetufar, Dabru dava vilo yakum. Utsu Etza vetufar, Dabru dava vilo yakum ki Emanuel. Utsu Etza vetufar, Dabru dava vilo yakum ki Emanuel. If you know it, it goes like this. Utsu et save too far. Dabutava viloyaku. Utsu et save too far. Dabutava viloyaku ki Emanuel. Utsu et save too far. Dabutava viloyaku ki Emanuel. If we look at the English, why this is perfect for this evening. Make your plans, they will be annulled. Scheme against us, it will be to no avail, for God is with us, from Isaiah. So we are going to now ask everyone to turn all the way back to page 8. And we will read together page 8. Let's join together. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense that these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. And now I'd like to call up Benet on page 2 for our candle lighting and blessing. Page 2.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has hallowed us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thank you, Benet. And as mentioned, tonight's service will be just a tad bit abbreviated. We're going to begin on page 145 with the Chatzi Kaddish. Please join me in the responses, if able. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah b'yalma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael bagala uv'izman kariv v'meru amen. Yeheshme Rabba Mevorach Le'alam Ulyomei Omaya Yitbarak V'yishtabach V'yipar V'yitraman V'yinaseh V'yidhadar V'yidhaleh V'yidhalal Shemei Dekudisha Brechu Leila Min Kol Berchata V'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'yama v'meru amen. On page 146, as we open the ark, please rise, if able, for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Page 147, towards the bottom of the page, let's read the English together. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Through all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Together, Baruch Atah Adonai Hamariv Haravim. Page 148, we join together with Angela and Dwight, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, ufkumenu nasiak behukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, נגע יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. אוהב עמו ישראל.
Once again, on page 49, we rise if able for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. We'll continue together, top of page 150, with the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'otecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'elech asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha midibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lektecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha ukshatam leot hayadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem, asher otzetetchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 151, middle of the page, we'll read responsively. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. When will redemption come? When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves. Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. Page 153. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, ve'amitenu shomrenu l'chaim, ufros aleinu suchat shlomecha. Let's read the English, bottom of the page, 153. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, hapurei suchat shalom, aleinu v'al kol hamo, Israel v'al Yerushalayim. Let's take just a moment to look around our beautiful sanctuary and realize how grateful we should be to have this beautiful suchat shalom, this shelter of peace. Friends, we're going to continue on page 155 with our tefillah. As the ark will be opened, we ask you to rise if able, page 155. Adonai sifata tiftach u'fiha gizei lasecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your. Page 156. Baruch atah 158. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim kol yom yalu kasela, Baruch ata Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. And you may be seated. Page 161. V'tzei Adonai Eloheinu b'yamcha Yisrael, u'filatam b'ahava tikabel, u'ti l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Let's read the English together. Be gracious, Adonai our God, to your people Israel, and receive our prayers with love. Oh, may you worship always be acceptable to you. Fill us with the knowledge that you are near to all who seek you in truth. Page 163. Middle of the page. V'al kulam yiparak v'yitroman shimcha, malchenu tamid le'olam va'ed. Let's read the English at the bottom. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving together. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ucha ne'eh lehodot. And on page 164, middle of the page, a beautiful piece of reading of peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, page 164, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul. May the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Bottom of the page. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Friends, we'll take a few moments of silent prayer, after which we'll join together on page 167 with those say shalom. Oh, say shalom bimroma, say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. And we turn to page 253. We transition from prayers for peace to prayers for healing. And I know some of our congregants these past few weeks, it has been very trying, not just in healing, but as caregivers. And that's why we do bless both those that need healing and our caregivers, because as we've mentioned many times in Judaism, being a caregiver is one of the utmost mitzvot you can do or engage in. Page 253. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, Bless and heal those who are ill. And I will mention Michael Wolf, Eliezer, Chaim, HaKohen, Ben Ramon. And I will go around our sanctuary. If anyone else is in need of healing or a caregiver, please say his or her name out loud. We'll start in the front. Anybody else in the middle? This side? I will take a moment for our friends joining us online. If there's anyone else you'd like to mention, please do so now. We continue with Angeline Dwight, middle of page 253. Let's sing Mishabera together.
Misheberach Avotenu Makor Habracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu makor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say Amen. So friends, this evening we'll be reading the English version of the Megillah. We'll be doing the blessings before and after, but I do want to just give you a little preface for those of you who may not be familiar with Purim, or the reason we wear masks, or the rabbi wears a Mike Wazowski hat. There's a reason behind that. By the way, Carson, I'm floored by that is amazing. It's really, I have to say, every time I look up, I see that, and I'm like, wow. The Megillah Esther, or the Scroll of Esther, is the biblical narrative that serves as the centerpiece of our Purim celebration. We could probably put it concisely: they tried to kill us, we won, let's eat. That's usually what we say, but it actually applies here. It is one of the 5 scrolls called Megillot, and it's found in the Ketuvim, the writing section of the Hebrew Bible. Unlike most other books in the Bible, the Megillah Esther is unique. Does anyone know why it is unique? There is a name that is not mentioned. Mike, do you know? God. God is not mentioned. And it's the hiddenness of God that relates to why we wear masks, which is very interesting. The story unfolds through a series, rather than God, of coincidences that suggest divine providence working behind the scenes. The hiddenness of God in our lives, we may not see it, but God is with us. When our readers say, Voldemort, Haman, and by the way, that was, come on guys, we do a little better. Let's try one. Haman! All right. Now, we are very lucky to have the Boo Master General, Dr. Wayne Margolis, with us, who is going to use this boo sign. Now, when you hear Haman and you see Dr. Wayne hold this up, what does that mean? All right, that was really good. Some of you were overzealous, but I liked it. Okay. So what we're going to do and how we're going to do this, we actually have 17 readers. We had 18. We're going to have someone's filling in for someone else, so 17. This is a well-oiled machine. I assure you we'll have no problems. We probably will, but that's okay. And they're all sitting up front. If anyone else has a reading and they haven't moved to the front, please do so. What we're going to do is we're going to call our readers up by 4. And that way, they'll stand behind each other. Yep, Boomaster General, come on up. And we are going to begin. So we will begin with the blessing before the Megillah. Reading, if everyone wants to look at your sheet, we do have the blessings there for you. And rather than me chanting them, we're going to read them together. So does everyone have their blessing before the Megillah? Sorry, it's on your song sheet as well. And by the way, thanks to Sarah for preparing all of this for us. Thank you. Thank you. Let's start. Thank you, Sarah. Blessing before the Megillah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al mikra Megillah. Together. Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us concerning the reading of the Megillah. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim lavotenu bayamim hahem bazman hazeh. Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who performed miracles for our ancestors in those days at this season. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who has granted us life, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this occasion. So friends, we're going to begin with a song, and then we'll call our readers up. On your song sheet, Chag Purim. Now you may want to know what it means when we say Havana Risha Rash Rash Rash. Rash 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 is basically just saying yeah, 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 or grogger, grogger, grogger. Okay, it's just the sound. But I'd like everybody to sing with us. If you don't know it, this is definitely the Purim Top 10, and I'm actually only aware of about 10 Purim songs, so this was going to make it no matter what. Chag Purim, are we ready? We ready to raise the roof? Here we go. Chag Purim, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol Halayitim, Masechot Rashanim, Smirot Frichudim. Everyone, Havana Risha. Got those groggers. Havana Risha. Havana Risha. Bara Ashanim. In the English together. Purim Day, gladsome, joyous holiday. Happy throng, singing songs, let us shout hooray. Hear the groggers, hear the groggers, hear the groggers. Joyous holiday. So I'd now like to call up our first 4 readers, Wendy, James, Benet, and Sam. Do you need? I have one here too. So.
Our tale begins in ancient Persia in the 4th century BCE in the massive Persian Empire. King Ahasuerus sat on his throne in Shushan. The Holy Temple in Jerusalem had been destroyed more than 50 years earlier, and the Jewish people were living as subjects of a foreign empire. King Ahasuerus ruled over 127 provinces, from the lush jungles of India to the golden sands of Ethiopia. In the 3rd year of his reign, the king decided to throw a party that would make every other party in history look small in comparison. This party would last for 180 days. Imagine that. 6 months of feasting just to show off his wealth. For 180 days, King Ahasuerus displayed his riches: gold couches, marble pillars, and wine served in unique golden goblets. When the 6 months were over, he threw a final 7-day party for everyone in Shushan. The palace gardens were draped in white, green, and blue linen. On the final day of the celebration, fueled by too much wine, King Ahasuerus summoned his queen Vashti to dance for his guest and show off her beauty. But Vashti said no. Vashti's refusal made King Ahasuerus very angry. He called a meeting of his advisors and asked them what he should do with Queen Vashti. Not only had Vashti disobeyed the king, but the advisors felt she had set a bad example for all the women in the kingdom. The advisors feared that their wives too might rebel against them. They advised King Ahasuerus to send Vashti into exile and choose a new, more obedient queen to replace her. And so, with a royal decree from King Ahasuerus, Vashti was removed and the search for a new queen began.
Wendy. Song number 2. Long ago in Persia, in the town of Shushan, there was a very rich king named Ahasuerus. He spent most of his days partying at his palace. We're having such a good time, this Ahasuerus. He had a wife named Vashti, brought her to his banquet, asked her for some dancing, this King Ahasuerus. But Vashti, she said no, to the king it was a blow. He banished her, you know, King Ahasuerus. James.
In the shadow of the palace lived a man of the tribe of Benjamin named Mordecai. He was a man of quiet faith and deep roots. Mordecai had adopted his cousin, a young orphan named Hadassah. She was as beautiful as a desert flower, but to protect her, Mordecai gave her a Persian name, Esther. When the king's decree went out to gather all of the beautiful young women of the empire to find his new queen, King Ahasuerus' scouts found Esther in Mordecai's household and took her to the palace. Before she left, for her safety, Mordecai told her to be very wary of telling anyone at the palace that she was Jewish. For 12 months, she underwent beauty treatments, 6 months with oil of myrrh and 6 months with perfumes. Yet Esther remained humble. She didn't ask for extra jewelry or fancy silks. Esther was kind and graceful, winning the heart of everyone she met, especially King Ahasuerus. When she finally stood before the king, he didn't see just another pretty face. He saw a queen. He placed the royal crown on Esther's head, and the city of Shushan celebrated.
Mordecai was not a man of titles, but he was a man of quiet dignity and unwavering principle. He sat every day at the king's gate, not for prestige or power, but to remain within reach of the palace and close to Esther, whom he had raised as his own daughter. Though unnoticed by many, Mordecai noticed everything. One afternoon, Mordecai overheard a muffled conversation drifting from a shadowed corner near the guard post. 2 royal guards, Bigtan and Teresh, were whispering urgently. Their voices were low, edged with bitterness. They were angry and resentful over some perceived slight, and their anger had festered into something far more dangerous. As Mordecai listened carefully, his heart began to pound. The whispers were no idle complaints. They were plotting to assassinate King Ahasuerus. Mordecai did not hesitate. He understood the gravity of what he had heard. If the plot succeeded, chaos would sweep through the empire, and Esther herself could be placed in mortal danger. Acting swiftly and discreetly, Mordecai sent word to Esther. With wisdom and courage, Esther approached King Ahasuerus and revealed the conspiracy, carefully making sure to credit Mordecai as the source of the information.
An investigation followed. The accusations were confirmed. Bigtan and Teresh were arrested, judged, and punished for their treachery. Order was restored and the immediate threat was removed. The entire episode was carefully recorded in the royal book of records in the king's presence, every name, every detail written down in black ink upon parchment. Mordecai returned quietly to his seat at the gate. No trumpet sounded in his honor, no rewards was placed in his hands. No royal robe draped across his shoulders. He remained what he had always been, faithful, watchful, and steadfast. Yet through, unrecognized by human eyes, his deed was not forgotten. The record remained, waiting for its moment, and in the hidden workings of history, even what seemed unnoticed can become the turning point of a nation.
Now, I know what people are thinking. When does this get exciting? When do the you-know-whats begin? We have so many of those coming up, you're going to have traction for your grogger hand. Okay? So be prepared. Our next readings. Thank you.
Now we must speak of a man whose name brings a chill to the air. The kind of name that makes people lower their voices when they say it. Sort of like Voldemort. But it's much worse. His name was Haman. In the sprawling empire of ancient Persia, under the rule of King Ahasuerus, ambition was a dangerous fuel, and no one burned with ambition more fiercely than Haman, the Agagite. Now the king, impressed perhaps by his confidence, perhaps blinded by flattery, decided to elevate Haman above all other princes. He was promoted to prime minister, seated above nobles and advisors and granted authority, second only to the throne in a single stroke. He became the second most powerful man in the land. The king gave him a seat of honor, and at Haman's request, a royal decree followed. Whenever Haman passed through the palace gates, all servants and officials were to bow low and prostrate themselves before him. Now, not a casual nod of respect, total submission, faces to the ground, bodies bent in reverence. But there was one man who stood firm as an oak tree. Mordecai would not bow. He would not bend. To Mordecai, the honor belonged to God alone, not to Haman. Haman so filled with such vain pride. Now the servants saw, and they tried to intervene. They whispered urgently to Mordecai, warning him that his stubbornness would bring trouble. Why do you transgress the king's command? But Mordecai stood firm, unmoved, and unbent.
And then Haman himself noticed. At first it was disbelief. Surely this was a mistake. Surely this one man had not understood the command. But when Haman saw Mordecai standing upright, unbent, and unbroken, his pride was pierced. His face twisted with rage. Haman decided it was not enough to punish Mordecai alone. That would be too narrow, too simple. If one Jew would not bow, then all Jews must pay the price. And in that moment, a single act of faith became the spark for a terrifying decree. Haman resolved that not just Mordecai, but every Jew, men, women, and children throughout the vast 127 provinces of the empire must perish. Haman was a superstitious man. He wanted the perfect day for his dark plan. He called for the poor, the lot, to be cast. The dice tumbled and rolled, and the lot fell on the 13th day of the month of Adar. With the date set, Haman went to King Ahasuerus and lied to the king. "There is a certain people," he hissed, "scattered among your provinces whose laws are different. They don't keep the king's laws. It's not in your interest to let them remain." Haman said, "Let me wipe them out, your majesty, and I'll even pay for it," offering 10,000 talents of silver to the treasury to fund the massacre. King Ahasuerus, trusting his advisor and a bit disinterested, gave Haman his signet ring and said, "Do as you wish."
Song number 3. Now, for those of you who know the original, we really want those high falsettos on this one, okay? All right, as we could see. I don't want to foreshadow it, but here we go. Here we go. Bow to me, 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 bow. This gullible king lets me do my thing. I'll make them bend the knee. It's my show, and yes, all will know that the Jews will bow to me. Everyone, you'll see. The Jews will bow to me. You'll see. The Jews will bow to me. We'll go a little faster. A parade, yippee, that will honor me. They'll say my name with glee. A special day when I'll have my way, when the Jews will bow to me. Everyone, you'll see. You'll see. The Jews will bow to me. That was good, Evan. Good job, buddy. You'll see. The Jews will bow to me. Everyone ready? Bow to me, 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 bow to me. I'll never bow to you.
The decree was written. It was sealed with the king's signet ring and sent by fast couriers riding swift horses to every corner of the vast empire, from India to Ethiopia, across all the provinces. The words traveled faster than fear itself, and wherever the scroll was opened and read aloud, in the marketplaces and the city gates, a shadow fell over the Jewish people. When Mordecai heard the decree, he tore his clothes, and he put on sackcloth and ashes. He walked through the city wailing with a loud and bitter cry, a sound that pierced the air like a shofar on a day of judgment. All through the provinces there was great mourning, fasting, weeping, and lamentation, as families huddled together, uncertain of what the next months would bring.
Esther, safe inside the palace walls, heard of her cousin's distress and sent him clean clothes, hoping at least to ease his visible suffering. But Mordecai refused them. His grief was not something to be covered over. It was a cry that demanded to be heard. He sent her a copy of the decree, and Mordecai said, "You must go to the king and beg for mercy. Plead for your people." Esther was terrified. Anyone who approached the king Ahasuerus without being summoned could be executed unless he extended his golden scepter. And she had not been called to him for 30 days. The silence of the throne room felt as dangerous as the decree itself. To step forward uninvited was to risk everything: her crown, her position, even her life.
Beautiful. Okay, we'd like to call up our next 4.
But Mordecai sent back a final powerful message. Who knows whether you were made for such a time as this? The words lingered in her heart. Perhaps her rise to the palace was not by chance, but by calling. Esther gathered her courage and sent word in return. Go, gather all the Jews in Shushan. Fast for me for 3 days and nights. I and my maidens will fast as well. Then I will go to the king, though it is against the law. And if I perish, I perish. In that moment, a young queen became a leader, and fear gave way to faith.
For 3 days, the city was silent. On the third day, Esther put on her most royal robes. Her heart was racing as she walked slowly toward the inner court. King Ahasuerus sat on his throne. He looked up, saw Esther, and to her relief, he reached out his golden scepter. What is that, my queen? Whatever you desire, it shall be given to you. Esther didn't reveal her secret yet. Instead, she requested that the king and Haman attended a private banquet in Haman's honor. Haman was all too happy to accept the invitation and arrived grand and imposing, unaware that his carefully laid plans would soon unravel. He bowed deeply before Esther, his mind calculating the favor he thought he already commanded. At the banquet, Esther served wine with a careful hand, her eyes fixed on the king, gouging every flicker of his expression. Haman spoke proudly of his achievements, obviously to the quiet tension that hummed between them. When the meal concluded, Esther leaned forward slightly, her voice steady yet charged with courage. My king, this was such a wonderful banquet, and because there is more honor to be bestowed upon our special guest, Haman, I would like to invite you both to another banquet tomorrow evening. King Ahasuerus asked Queen Esther, these banquets have been filled with merriment, good food, and mirth. But you said you have something of great importance to tell me, my queen. What is on your mind? Esther played it cool. If it pleases the king, she said softly, I will tell you tomorrow night on the second banquet.
Haman left the palace feeling invincible. He was the guest of honor invited by the queen to yet another banquet with the king. The self-importance swelled inside him like a rising tide. He could already imagine the whispers in the court. Haman, alone, chosen above all others, his name would echo throughout the empire. But on his way out of the palace, just as his pride reached its peak, he saw Mordecai standing at the king's gate. And of course, once again, Mordecai did not bow. In an instant, Haman's triumph curdled into fury. How could one stubborn Jew spoil such a perfect day? How dare he stand upright when everyone else trembled and bent low? Haman forced himself to keep walking, but the image burned in his mind like a brand. By the time he reached his house, his anger had grown into something much darker, something desperate. He gathered his friends and his wife Zeresh and boasted first of his wealth, his many sons, and the special favor of the king and queen had shown him. But even as he spoke, his voice shook. Yet all this means nothing to me, he admitted bitterly. So long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate, his glory felt hollow, his power felt incomplete, and as long as Mordecai stood unbound, Haman felt small. Zeresh listened carefully, and then she offered a solution as cold as it was swift. Let a gallows be built, she said, 50 cubits high, 75 feet tall, so that all may see. The idea pleased Haman. And he agreed and told her that in the morning he would have the gallows built and asked the king to hang Mordecai upon it. Orders were given that very night. The wood was gathered, the beams were raised, and the towering gallows cast a long shadow against the night sky, built for one purpose only, Mordecai the Jew.
That night, King Ahasuerus couldn't sleep. Perhaps it was the wine, or perhaps it was something nudging his conscience. To pass the time, he asked his servant to read to him from the royal book of records. His servant opened the heavy scroll and began to read the story of how Mordecai had saved the king from the palace guards, Bigthan and Teresh. Was this man ever rewarded? What honor or dignity has been given to Mordecai for this? The servants looked to the floor. Nothing has been done for him, sire. The king sat up and started to speak. But at that exact moment, a footstep echoed in the court, and it was Haman. Arriving earlier than expected, King Ahasuerus called out, "Who is in the court?" "Greetings, my most trusted advisor. What can I do for you?" Now Haman had walked into the court to ask the king a very important question, permission to hang Mordecai. But before he could speak his treacherous words, the king asked, "Tell me, my trusted advisor, how should I honor a man who truly pleases me?"
Beautiful. Thank you, guys. Now, you can't leave the show now because things are getting really exciting. Okay. Our next four, please. Bruce, Beverly, Mike. Actually, we'll go on next five. Well, next four because Sherry's already up here.
Haman's mind raced, his chest swelled. Surely this was the moment he had been waiting for. Surely the king had finally recognized his greatness. Who would the king want to honor more than me, he thought. So Haman described his royal fantasy to the king Ahasuerus. Let the man be dressed in the royal robes of the king himself has worn. Let him ride on the king's own horse. Let the one with the royal crest placed upon his head, and let one of the king's most noble princes lead him through the streets of Shushan, proclaiming before him, "This is what is done for the man who the king delights to honor." The king clapped his hands and proclaimed, "Excellent, wonderful, go quickly, Haman. Take the robe and the horse and do exactly as you have said for Mordecai, the Jew, who sits at the king's gate. Do not leave out a single detail." Haman's heart fell to the floor. The man he despised, the man who would not bow, the man he had built a 75-foot gallows, 50 cubits. That was the man he must now honor. And so through the streets of Shushan, Haman led Mordecai in royal splendor, shouting the very words he had hoped would be shouted about himself. In one day, his pride turned into humiliation. In 1 hour, his power turned into powerlessness. Now the Song of Esther's Day.
Oh, yes. And this is a special song because I actually wrote the original. So that's a joke if you look at it. Okay. Song number 5, everyone. Esther's Day is when Jewish folks will have their say, and cruel Haman will just go away. Oh, we believe in Esther's Day. Mordecai prove that we don't really have to die. Wouldn't bow down to this evil guy. So have the king tell Haman bye. Why we're hated so we don't know, and who could say? Esther, help us now when our skies are dark and gray. is when Haman will be sent away. Shushan's queen made sure she had to pay. Oh, we believe in Esther's day. We believe in Esther's day. So friends, as we get to our last few readings, really have those groggers rocking and rolling, because we need that energy. We need that negative energy for you-know-who. Okay, let's keep it going.
Haman returned home devastated, his head covered in grief and shame. But before he could even progress, what had happened to the king's attendants rushed back to the place for Esther's second banquet. The wine was poured, the air was thick with anticipation, the story was unfolding. King Ahasuerus asked Esther yet one more time, "What is your wish, my queen? Keep, if you desire, half of the kingdom. It shall be granted to you. For you, anything I cannot refuse you." Finally, Esther's courage increased as she shown that she had to speak. Esther's voice trembled at first, but only for a moment. She pleaded, "My king, if I had found favor in your sight, and I had been a dutiful and loyal queen, let my life be given me and save my people. For I am a Jew, and we have been marked to be destroyed, killed, and annihilated." King Ahasuerus roared in anger, "Who is he? Where is the man who would dare to do this?" Esther stood still, no longer hidden, no longer silent, and pointed to the evil man, a foe, an enemy, and your royal, the wicked Haman. Haman's face was drained of color. The king got up and stormed outside to the palace garden in a quiet rage. Haman fell before Esther's feet to beg her for his life. When the king returned and saw him collapse in front of the queen, he roared, "Will he even assault the queen in my own house?" At a moment, a servant spoke up, "Your Majesty, there stands the gallows that Haman prepared for Mordecai, the one who saved the king's life." The king did attendants, who only hours before had bowed before him and gripped his arms tightly. The corridors of the palace seemed longer, and even as he was able to lead them, word traveled quickly through the marble halls. The mighty Haman, advisor to the king, had fallen. And so Haman was taken to the very gallows that he had built for another. It had been constructed in arrogance, a moment he had hated of Mordecai and the Jews. Now it loomed as the monument to justice, his own decree, which he had crafted as such confidence and unveiled in a single evening, undone not by armies, but by courage. When the order was carried out, the strange silence settled over Shushan, the man who seemed untouchable, whose signet ring sealed the fate of a nation, was gone. That was that.
Hard.
hard act to follow. Haman was no more, but the decree against the Jews was still written in stone. Persian law was unchangeable. So King Ahasuerus gave Mordecai the signet ring that had belonged to Haman. Esther and Mordecai wrote a new decree allowing the Jews to gather and defend themselves against anyone who attacked them. Mordecai was also clothed in royal blue and white. A golden crown rested upon his head. The man who once wore sackcloth and ashes now wore splendor. So, on the 13th of Adar, the day meant for their destruction, the Jews were victorious. The Jewish people could now gather, stand together, and defend themselves. On the 13th day of Adar, the very day meant for their destruction, the Jews stood united. Fear shifted. Their enemies fell. And in Shushan and throughout the provinces, there was light and gladness, joy and honor. Mordecai, who once sat humbly at the king's gate, would soon be called into the palace, not in sackcloth, but in royal garments. The gallows still stood, but no longer as a threat. It stood as a reminder: hatred ultimately collapses under its own weight. The trap set for the righteous ensnares the wicked. The pit Haman dug became his own, and from its shadow, hope began to rise.
The city of Shushan shouted and rejoiced. For the Jews, it was a time of light and honor. Mordecai recorded these events and sent letters to all the provinces to keep the 14th and the 15th of Adar every year as days of feasting. They call these days Purim, named after the lots that Haman had cast. What was meant to be a day of annihilation became a day of celebration, and mourning was turned into dancing. Our story ends with Mordecai being revered among the Jews and Esther reigning with courage. It was declared that these days should be celebrated every year with feasting, gifts of food, and charity to the poor. So year after year, when the month of Adar arrives, the scroll of Esther is unrolled, and every time the name of Haman is spoken, it is drowned out with noise and laughter. Families gather, friends exchange gifts, and hands open generously to those in need. For Purim is not only a remembrance of danger turned aside, it is living celebration of a hidden miracle, brave hearts, and the unshakable promise that even in the darkest moments, deliverance can shine and like dawn.
Our final reading, Sherry.
It is our tradition that on Purim we are commanded to increase joy, not shallow joy, nor temporary distraction, but deep, resilient joy. The kind that shows darkness exists and celebrates anyway. And we should remember something remarkable. Throughout the entire story, the name of God is never mentioned, not once. No burning bush, no parted sea, no pillar of fire. Only sleepless nights, overheard conversations, perfectly planned banquets, the courage of a woman who chose to speak, a man who would not bow down to anyone but God, and a king who suddenly was having sleepless nights. The scroll of Esther teaches us that sometimes redemption arrives disguised in timing or courage. And sometimes the bravest act in the world is simply stepping forward and taking a stand. The party that began in Shushan did not die. It echoes in every synagogue, every grogger, every hamantaschen, every burst of laughter. And so we shout and sing, because what was meant to destroy us became the reason to celebrate. Hag Purim Shemeach.
Thank you, Sherry. And I want to also thank our Boomaster General. Let's hear it for the Boomaster General. Give him a boo. I really want to thank all our participants, and thank you for sitting and listening and enjoying tonight. We're going to actually move a little forward. We're going to do another song. We're actually just going to do a closing song at the end of our service. So why don't we continue now with the blessing after the reading of the Megillah. And that is going to be on your song sheet. And once everyone's turned to that, we'll do it together. Again, I want to thank all our participants. Weren't they great? We can get them a Shabbat clap. Give them a Shabbat clap. Okay. I told you your grogger hands were going to get a little tired during this. Okay. The blessing after the Megillah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, harav et rivenu hadan, et dinenu hanokem et nikmatenu, hanifra lanu mitzarenu, hamishalem gemul lechol oyevei nafshenu, Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hanifra le'amo Yisrael mikol serahem ha'el haMoshiach. In the English, blessed are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who fights our battles, judges our cases, avenges our grievances, who fully repays all those enemies of our souls, and who brings us out from suffering. Blessed are you, Lord, who delivers his people Israel from all who repress them, the God who redeems. Sherry, do we have announcements tonight, or what do you think? All right. Yeah, come on up. Sherry, come on up for the announcements. Sorry, I should just had you stay up with me, but we choreographed every other part of the service except this one. Okay.
You will have Torah study again tomorrow. Next week will be normal. You can't use groggers and you can't holler and shout, but you can sing. And again with the Torah study. Thursday, March the 19th, there will be a happy hour hosted by the Beaumont Heritage Society here at Temple, and it's open to the public, $10 for admission. On Sunday, March the 28th, History and Havdalah, hosted by the Beaumont Heritage Society and Brotherhood, will be at the Art Museum in Southeast Texas, downtown Beaumont. Hostesses, Esterlyn Dugan and Bené Rutman. And on the 9th, our dear friend Judy Knight will be celebrating a birthday. And I hope each one of you have a very peaceful week and enjoy the meal downstairs.
Thank you, Sherry.
Why did you take your frog off?
Oh, I figured I'll keep it on until then.
If everybody else has to stay dressed, so
President told me to keep the frog on. Getting a breather from this thing. So I do want to thank everyone for attending tonight. Depending on what temple you're at, some of the more religious temples, or I remember growing up in my conservative temple, it was mostly in Hebrew, some English, probably about 2 hours. So we actually cut that in half. So if you want us to do the full 2 hours, we'll do that next year, okay? We always can. We can add. Friends, we're going to turn back in our prayer book to page 282. We rise as the ark is opened for the Aleinu. kol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Page 287.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
We remain standing as our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth and our loved ones whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. We mark the yahrzeits of Kenneth Neal, Regina B. Cohen, Max Swearin, Stanley B. Goldstein, Sam Klugman, Irving Schwartz, Howard L. Kane, Charles Mills, Isidore Protis, Gertrude Bender, Esther Glazomitsky, Ione Sternberg-Ney, Abe Kolba, Louise Sheps, Hadassah Jacobs, Jenny Tooman, Sylvan Summer, Miriam Cohen Schwartz, Abraham Eisen, Tony Kern, Joseph Lederer, Harold D. Greenberg, Dorothy M. Lefkowitz, Charles Miller, Ann Batzel, Frida Krager, Anna Lehman, Minnie Falkowitz, Alice Ney, Max H. Haber, and Leon R. Levy. And we'll go around our sanctuary for remembering anyone else this evening. Please say his or her name out loud. And our friends who are joining us online, please say those names out loud right now. In solidarity, we turn to page 294, the treasured words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, b'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yemechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'mei maya, yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, Shemeda Kudisha Rechu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbchata v'nechamata, da'miran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and all of Israel, to which we say amen. And for our closing song, we're going to just do one verse of the song, A Wicked, Wicked Man. It's on the very back of your song sheet. We're going to sing the first verse and a rousing chorus. Are we ready? And I do want to thank all of our lay leaders and our friends who help prepare the wonderful Su'udah, the meal afterwards, which is one of the commandments of Purim, to eat a meal. And we're going to do that with joy and glee. At least I know I am. Here we go. Oh, once there was a wicked, wicked man, and Haman was his name, sir. He lied and lied about the Jews, though they were not to blame, sir. Everyone, oh, today will... Oh, today will, oh, today will, and Nasham Hamintashin. Oh, today will, oh, today will, oh, today will, Mary, Mary be, and Nasham Hamintashin. That wasn't my fault, by the way. Wait a little. Yeah, it's
This
a little
bema
bit.
smells
Now the
mighty
beam. Now,
potent.
so don't come near the bema. You might get a contact high up here. All right, everyone. We're going to do our challah and wine. Thank you, Sherry. Sorry about that. I'm allowed one wine spill every 2 years, so I think that was the first. Okay, Charlie, you want to come up and help me with this? Come on up, buddy. We are on page 5. Sorry, Sherry. See, when you have that many moving parts and a little bit of a klutz of a rabbi, something's bound to happen. It just happened right at the end, so that's not bad. Okay, Charlie, we ready? Everyone together, we'll have the real stuff downstairs. Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava uvratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila, l'mikraye kodesh, zecher l'tziyah mitzrayim, kivanu v'chata, v'yotanu kidashta, michol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'yahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, Mikadesh HaShabbat. Amen. All right. Now I have to put my hat and my shades back on because I don't want you to be able to tell which one's Charlie and which one's me. So let's, Charlie, are we ready for this? Okay. There he is. Oh, he's spilling too. We're both the cool guys are spilling. All right, here we go, Charlie. Ready? We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Looks like I'm being stuck up for the challah here, Charlie. Show everybody. All right, we got it. Everyone enjoy our seudah, our meal. Thank you to all our participants. And a Chag Purim Sameach to all of you.